we have the lady who really, really, really knows how to make being bad look really good. She plays the Morrigan, Emmanuelle Vaugier.
Thank you. And our next guest is the pretty little lady that we all love, Cassandra Solo.
Hi, everyone. How are you feeling last day? Thanks for being here. It is my great pleasure, sorry I can't talk yet, my great pleasure to introduce our next guest, the one, the only, our favorite, the lovely, the handsome, the sexy, the wonderful, Rick Howland, everyone.
Yes, and everybody's here on a Monday morning, including them. Let's give them a hand for each day. On the third day, and yes, we do appreciate it. And the question that I would like to ask is actually from one of your big fans in India, who is unable to be here. And her name is, probably mispronouncing it, Kajol from India. And she would like to know that what each of you think, that what contribution your character makes to the show.
What contribution do my character make?
Right.
Well, Trick brings in the world of the Fae, the historical reference, the encyclopedia of the Fae world.
Smarts.
The smarts, the Trickopedia.
He's got a really cool library in his flair, there too.
Look at the bracelet thing. Kenzie. Kenzie is the, thank you. Kenzie is the window, the human window. What I'm trying to say is the window for you guys, I think, into the Fae world. And she's Beau's heart. So that's, kind of important. Not really, whatever.
I think as far as my character goes, of the wit and the sense of humor, and the darker sense of humor, the dryness and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think bringing some humor to it in a different way.
You're evil, but like,
You represent the dark,
bring a little sass.
the sass. You bring the sass.
Ass!
Totally.
Done.
You both actually bring a bit of sass in love,
Oh, thank you.
though. I'm sure. Trick is sassless.
And early Trick was kind of sassy himself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when you don't want to get on your bad side.
No, you don't want to
That's
get
what the
much
sass
inside,
is.
yeah.
Full throttle.
They'll school you.
Yeah.
Old school you. Like really old school you. Like before there was actual school. School you. I don't even know what it was called then. It was so old.
Okay, we're going to start with questions over here on the right with Leah, so go right ahead.
Hi, I had a question about how dark the season got, because it was a very, very dark season. Did you ever feel that it got too dark, or were you glad that it gave you the acting opportunity to play a darker? Thanks. I can't talk either.
Welcome to Dark.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, because I think I heard you. I believe that you asked about season 4 and how dark it got, right? And if we, as actors, liked that it got that dark, because it gave us the chance to play something new, something different, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice to know.
thank you.
I liked revealing some of the darker elements of Trick. I was a little bit worried that you guys would kind of start to hate Trick or not like that side of it. But yeah, and you loved him even more, which was great. And when I got to show, play the duality of the character as well. It's not all just cookies and cream. There's a little bit of
Some chocolate milk.
some dark chocolate milk. Wow.
Yesterday was Oreos, today
Yay, it's gonna
is
be
cookies and chocolate milk. How about you, Em?
Well, I mean, my storyline didn't really get that dark last
You
day.
got like sexy.
Yeah, I got my sort of, I got to explore different things in my
Different pleasures of sorts.
Yeah. And then when I become human, it's sort of, I kind of leave season 4 shortly after that. There's not much that we find out about it until, well, there's really sort of hits the fan in the last couple of episodes, and it gets really dark. But I don't really participate much in it.
Did you cry? You didn't have to cry.
No crying.
Okay.
Pouted a little.
She
I think
pouted.
you pouted a little
I
bit.
did a little pouting and stomping at my feet.
And you flirted with Trick, which was a lot of fun.
We did. That was so much
That
fun.
was a great scene.
And I mean, I got to punch you in the face, so let's not forget that.
I got slapped. I got abused last season.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the abusive season for you.
That's where it got dark. Morgan needs to go see a therapist now.
It was a very dark season for Kenzie, but I feel that we had to go there to keep her growing and evolving. And I think I said yesterday that I don't think the comedy would be as powerful if there was no darkness and drama on the other side of it. So if it's all comedy, it's not. I don't think that would be fun for you guys, and that would not be fun for me as an actor. So it's really nice to be able to go back and forth between the two, especially in season 4 when it got probably as dark as we've ever been. So yeah.
Okay, Jason?
Hi.
Hey.
So Lost Girl was my gateway TV show into the awesome world of Canadian television. And I think it's the best television. And I'm interested to hear all of your perspectives on how Canadian culture and politics have influenced the stories that you tell.
There's a Canadian culture. Could you tell us about it? Because
Well, yeah, actually.
speaking of,
I mean, being from the U.S., not that you were actually asking me, but I answer. I think that politics here in the U.S. is a lot more vitriolic, and it can be unpleasant. And my impression of my Canadian relatives is that, people kind of live their lives, you accept other people, everybody kind of gets along. You don't get a
And then
lot of
there's
stuff.
Rob Ford.
Exactly what I was thinking.
well, our Prime Minister is making me shake a stick at either, to be honest. Yeah, well, thank you very much for saying nice things about Canadian television. That's awesome. And I'm glad you see that and you feel that way. Because we try really hard within the shadow of kind of your television and the stuff you guys make. There's so much of it, and it comes over our border. We get our little shows out there, and it's nice that we're sharing our media back and forth now more. Do you have anything more to say?
I was gonna say, I can't really talk about Canadian culture or politics without probably sounding really
Angry?
not stupid, but I just don't know if I'm educated enough in that world to connect, our what we do on TV to Canadian politics. But what I can say is we all have great admiration for our creator Jay Firestone, and the reason is because usually when you are a producer of a television show, you have a network come in and they really take control, and they like to make the decisions, and they like to tell you what to do, and they like to tell you what your stories should be, and how this should look, and that should look, and one of the incredible things about Jay is that he's managed to really keep this as his own thing. You know, this started as his baby, and it still is his baby. And that is very rare in both the States and Canada in the film and television industry. So in that way, I don't feel like Lost Girl is dictated by too many outside sources. Because what am I trying to say? I'm trying to make this sound really eloquent. I don't know if it's working.
He has the vision and he keeps it going forward.
Yeah.
And doesn't allow it to get derailed by too many cooks, too many chefs,
Which is
spoiling the broth, as they say.
which is extremely rare. So we're so lucky that way. We really are our own little unit, and it's just a really beautiful thing, because oftentimes, even like an example, like if you are on set and you want to change a line of dialogue, usually what happens is you go to the showrunner has to get on the phone with the producers who may be in a different city, then you gotta, maybe sometimes make a call to the network. It's like, just to change one line, you have to go through so many people. And here, we do everything on set, and we don't have to, to reach out to anybody else. I don't know if that answers your question. I really tried, though.
Yeah, otherwise, I'd just like to say, like, Canadian culture is apologizing. And, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're polite. Are you gonna invade our country? Sorry. No, thank you. There's a lot of room up north. We don't all live in igloos, by the way, but there's a lot of room up there, and you can build one if you like, because there's a lot of snow, too. Sorry.
No, basically what Ksenia said. I mean, it's true, like, the same thing for me to try to, especially on day 3, and after a rave, try to connect.
She's got rave on the brain.
Yeah, connect Canadian politics to the show that we're doing about fairies and goblins and things.
Yeah.
It really doesn't,
No, it's a very interesting question that we've never.
It's a great question, it's a tough question,
Yeah.
actually, it's a very hard
The
question.
funny thing is our Prime Minister's actually been on a TV show called Murdoch Mysteries, which you guys get down here. Yeah, he took a role from an actor in Canada. Which is fine, sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step out of line there and have an opinion. That's not very Canadian of me. But yeah, I don't think there's room on Lost Girl for, well, he could be a dark fan, I suppose, couldn't he?
I think
Sorry.
Rob Fort would make a great Faye. You know what? I'm not going to get into this. Let's just move on.
I'm just gonna
Let's
say things
just-
like,
Let's just move on. Thank you so much.
thank you, yeah.
I was wondering if you guys could swap places with any of your Lost Girl co-stars for a day, like the actors, not the characters, who would you choose and why?
The actors, not the characters? Oh, wow.
Oh, actor's not the character.
I want to be Ksenia Solo. For a week.
Why, Rick? For a week? Why?
Well, because you're a good dancer, and you've got a cool life.
I've got a cool life.
Well, as far as you know.
I like that. All right, let's stick with that.
I think I want to be Chris Holden Reeves, like, know what it feels like to have an 8-pack.
Well, no offense to KHR. He's fantastic. KHR. That's what I call him. That's what I call him. But again, with all due respect to KHR, if you really want like a 16-pack,
Yeah, totally.
then I would say you have to go with Mr. Casey Collins.
It's true.
Because I think they both demonstrated that last year at some point, did they not? Yeah,
I'm sure they did.
yeah, as I recall, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard question. to take up all this time. I would switch with Rick Howland over here. Because I just want to know what it's like to be such a brilliant freaking actor. So I would pick
Aww. You're so sweet.
I think I just.
you. It's because I'm
I think it's just throw it.
No, well,
I didn't hear
whatever,
that.
Darth Faye.
Sorry.
Don't be jealous of
But
the
I
love here.
Stephanie, you're up next. Stephanie, you may not know, do you know, Stephanie runs a podcast about the show. Yeah, Drinks at the Doll. Okay.
Oh, never mind, sorry.
She's used to hosting shows. Give me the microphone.
I know. Yesterday, Sandy, you mentioned the scene that was cut from original Skin, where Dyson, as Kenzie tries to seduce a guard, that you were really disappointed never got to shoot. And I was wondering if there were other scenes that you or Rick and Emmanuel, like they were either in the script or you got to shoot them, but they didn't make it into the final edit. If there was ones that you were like, darn it, I wish people could have seen that.
It's actually kind of funny because last year, about episode 4 or 5, I came onto set and Jay came up to me and he said, listen, episode 3 went a little long. The director had just, there was just too much footage. The script was big. It was a big story. And so he said, I hate to do this, I hate to tell the actors this, but you've been cut out of the episode. There was no way to cut around it. It was just like we had to get rid of something, and so they cut out Trick's story arc for that episode. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, all the other ones. So that's cool.
I guess I'll give you this one.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other than that scene. That scene, yeah, is like the main one that I will regret till the end of days that we didn't get. What about you?
Yeah, there's been. Every time I see a script ahead of time, I mean, it changes so much. But I remember there was one day, the pizza episode, where Lauren and I are hanging out drinking dark Belgian and stuff.
Oh, yes.
And that whole sequence of scenes for that episode changed probably about 15 times. And most of the times we're on the day, it was all our stuff all day long, and we'd be in hair and makeup, and writer and producers would come in to the trailer and literally start changing lines. So we, Zoe and I are like, this is a totally different scene than the one that was written about 10 minutes ago. What are we doing? And it changed, it changed over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where by the end of the day we were so tired and delirious we could barely speak, and we just started laughing, we couldn't look at her, because every time we made eye contact. And then at one point I think I was laughing so hard that I started tearing up, and makeup's like, no! Stop! So, yeah, there was lots of stuff that I can't even remember what was left out, but it was rewritten so many times on the day.
Yeah, that happens occasionally.
It does. It's rare that it happens that badly. That was particularly.
I kind of like those days though, because then the pressure's off of you. Because it's like, well, I don't know what my line is. What's my line? You just changed it. I have no idea what the heck I'm supposed to say anymore. But you have to tap into that kind of improvisational thing in yourself, and that we know.
Which is so nice.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you got some room to move here, because we're all flying by the seat of our pants in this moment. So it's fun.
Yeah, sometimes the best work comes out of that. It's not attached to anything, and you haven't really looked at it, and the pressure's off, so you kind of just let things happen, and you have more fun.
Thank you. Next.
What's your craziest or most memorable experience from an audition?
Auditions?
I actually got a part in a commercial once, and I walked into the audition room, and I was standing there, and the guy goes, "Okay, you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." He's like, "Okay, slate your name," which means say your name, but it's a slate, so you say your name and your agency and stuff. They don't do that very much anymore because the technology has advanced, so they just type it in for you now. And I was a garage attendant or something, and I did the whole audition thing. He's like, "Okay, great, thanks." And I walked into the room and I realized my fly was down. And I had no idea. Like, oh no, I figured it out halfway through. So I was like kind of talking away and I just... But I couldn't react to it, and I wasn't sure if the frame of the camera was like above my waist or below my waist, so I wasn't sure if they could see if it was open or not. So I was like, okay, just act natural, don't think about your fly going down, I'm thinking about my fly going down! And I got the fire, and I think it's because I had something else in my head, and it totally distracted me from what I was actually supposed to be doing, and so...
They were like, wow, he's got serious inner emotional life, wow.
What's he thinking? My fly is down and I'm embarrassed.
Acting 101.
Yeah, totally.
Now I'm gonna think about that in every scene I ever do.
There's a similar analogy I've made actually is with actors who are married, like two actors, and they have a kid. When you have a child, right, like it just kind of consumes the rest of your life. And so an actor, they just start working a lot more because they're so distracted by their life and their child and their family that they walk into an audition room and go, okay, what do you need? Yeah, look, I gotta go feed my kid, take him to daycare or whatever, right? So they're like, okay, what's the line? Yeah, okay, go. And they're like, great, see you later. Out the door. And they're like, let's book him, or her, because she's like, it's just that way, it's that thing that's in your head, it's bigger than what's going on, which gives you depth, I think, in a performance for some reason.
Wow, these are acting secrets. Just hold on, let me write.
Always be thinking about something else.
When I first went to Los Angeles, my first audition was, I think, for a show called Medium. And the sides I got, I did a double take because my character was giving birth, in the scene. This is literally my first audition in Hollywood, and so for 4 days, I didn't want to practice in my apartment because the walls were thin, and I was worried about people hearing me. So I would go into my car in the garage. I would sit in my car, just screaming at the top. I don't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, I think this is what this is supposed to look like. And I think someone walked by once, and I'm like, ah! I'm having a heated argument on the phone. And then I went to the audition, and I crossed my fingers that, there would be a room full of people. Sometimes you go and the door is paper thin, and you can hear everything the other actors are doing in the room. And of course, that's what happened. It was the tiniest room with the thinnest little door, and I went in and I was like, okay, whatever. I just did it, and I came out, and I just remember everyone's eyes were just really wide. I was like, yeah, beat that. Practiced for 4 days in my car.
I don't have a story to top that one. I mean, mine's not nearly as funny. I'm sure there's been really awkward situations that I've been in, but I tripped and almost landed flat on my face coming into an audition room.
Hey, at least you make a grand entrance.
Yeah, I suppose I'm supposed to be very put together and I'm in a suit and I'm flying in and I'm like, I'm here, sorry. All good. I did end up booking it though.
See?
I didn't book Medium. What the hell? I should have been thinking about
Your fly being down.
my fly being down.
Tripping on something. There's actually, never mind. There's a great story about Bette Midler who goes into an audition in the theater and she comes out and she's like, and she sticks some gum under the stool, right? And then she does her audition and she leaves and one of the stagehands or the director comes walking to the stool and there's no gum. Yeah, so she did it on purpose just to get their attention. Brilliant, right? So the tripping, brilliant.
I have learned so much from this panel.
Over here, Jason.
My question is for Ksenia, and firstly, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Okay. I wanted to ask you about the episode in which Hale proposes and then dies. Did you know that he was going to die? Did they talk to you at all about that before you got the script, or did you find out as you were reading the script, and what was your reaction?
I knew it was gonna happen, not too much ahead of time, but with enough warning, I got the script and I knew that's where it was going. So it was a very emotional episode. We went to our highest high, the happiest, Kenzie and Hale have ever been, and then not. So I was mentally preparing for a while for a really tough, emotional week at work.
Yeah, that was one of the saddest read-throughs we've had, I think. Because we all get together before the episode begins to shoot, and we read through the script for everyone to hear it and hear everybody's, voices and add the characters and stuff. That was a pretty sad episode to go through. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, I don't think, at the end of that episode's read-through.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I was the Supergirl from Saturday. I have a question for Ksenia and then a question for all of you. So Ksenia, you have really thick black hair on the show. Is that a wig or is it your natural hair? And for all of you, if you could swap hair with any cast member.
No, I have naturally very, very thick curly hair, super curly, and it was black and dark all this time. And then I just felt like a change. It was time for a change. So I'm slowly going lighter. And if I could swap hair with someone, it would probably be Rachel Scarston, because she has the most beautiful blonde locks. And I'm always sitting next to her in the trailer, and I'm like, ah.
She's doing it.
Yeah. Well, when I look at her, I see a hair commercial, our hairstylist is blow drying her hair, but all I see when I look over is slow motion, shiny locks. So that's who I would switch with.
I think I would switch with, I'd have to say Anna. Yeah, she has amazing hair. It's long and thick and not damaged. And it's straight. Mine's half frizzy, half straight, half I don't know. And yeah, it just feels like I always have to do so much with it. Her hair just she just gets.
She
up
just
and
wakes
it's
up gorgeous.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, how about me? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I had hair like that back in 1993 when I lived on Vancouver Island. Peace, man. It was a great time. But yeah, no, I guess, I don't know. Do I want Holden Reed's kind of floppy, moppy, kind of curly, whirly? Or I guess it would be Paul's. Paul's got a pretty good set of hair. I'm assuming I would switch with a guy.
No. You can switch with anyone.
Okay, well then I want all your wigs.
Okay.
Kenzie's
Like the pink wig.
Yeah, the pink bob, man. I could rock that.
Oh, yeah.
No bloody liking.
Okay, over here.
Out of any of the seasons you've had with the characters in there, what scene would you want to have with them, whether it's been a romance scene or a fight scene that you didn't get to have?
Yeah, Trick never got his, fake twins date. Did I? No, but they came to me when I did the thing with Deb, Stella, when there was the whole Trella thing for a little while, which was really cool. I love that, but it faded away. They came to me and said, "Oh, so we're gonna have Trick have a little romantic thing in this season, and what are you thinking?" And I was like, "Ooh, Helen Mirren, please." get Lady Helen Mirren. And then my wife said, no, get them to get you two, like, twins that look somewhere in the world of, like, Grace Jones.
I love your wife.
Yeah.
I wish I had a husband who was like, hey babe, you know, you have to have like a love story, you know, for Kenzie. I'd be like, yeah. And he'd be like, why don't we get you like two really sexy twins? Yeah.
Yeah.
I now definitely know I picked the right answer when I said I want to switch with Rick Howland.
Awesome. She'll appreciate that.
Wait, what was the question?
Any scene you won or wasn't around.
Right, sorry, I was thinking about hot twins. I wish you and I had like a full-on like fight, like biatch slap scene.
Yeah, we never got to really do that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
we had a little bit of sort of contact, and then it wasn't
Like my knuckles with your jaw.
like that. But it never, like, it was, that's it. And it's like, no, what about?
I know, I'd love for you to like wind up and just like slap me back.
It's like a
Just
full-on
like,
cat
full-on
fight.
cat fight.
Hair pulling,
Hair pulling.
scratching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a flashback to the twins thing again. Actually, quick, I want to ask Emmanuel a question, if I may. For the audition for Lost Girl, did you have a scene with Trick that was like, kind of like an argument?
I was out of the country, so I was never, I didn't.
Or you just handed the part?
She's, yeah, clearly, it's Emmanuel.
Just Emmanuel! Okay. Cool.
I was supposed to go in and then I was working and I couldn't make it in, so it ended up being just a conversation. But I don't think, I remember scene size actually. I don't think that, no, because it was scenes from the pilot.
Yeah.
So it was when Bo was in the cell and
Yeah.
all that. It was all pilot stuff. And I only was in like a couple of scenes in the pilot.
Oftentimes, when they're auditioning people, they won't necessarily, especially if the show's going, they won't necessarily give actors the actual script. They'll write something that is similar to, just so they don't give it away, because you'll have like 100 people come through reading these things, and then suddenly, 100 people know what your story's about, and that's not good. But I had, for my audition, there was a whole scene where I had to like power up against the Dark Fae leader, the Morrigan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like a chunk, and there were chunks back and forth of like arguments.
We never got to do that.
No, it never came out. So that's mine right there. It was yeah, I mean it was fun as heck to do in the audition because I had to like, step it up and be the king and be like, I'm not letting you push me around, evil woman. And so it was a lot of fun, but then just kind of ended up carrying that essence of that through the character rather than actually getting to play that scene ever.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, other than the cat fight thing, that would be really fun. I would love to have explored more stuff with Dyson. Because we never got to do anything together. Like barely. Like I think we've been in scenes together where we have like one or two words that are exchanged, but we've never had a storyline together. We've never had any sort of interaction. We just shot. It was kind of like that with all the characters, except it was always me and Bex together, and Bo, and then it wasn't until
Poor thing.
He's a classic great actor.
He's so much fun to work with. He's
good.
Wild. He's always doing something crazy, so it's fun.
Hi there. My question is for Emmanuel. Last season, the Morgan had an interesting gang situation, and I would like to know what that was like filming the scene with Zoe Palmer. Was it like a lot of giggling and laughing?
When you're shooting a scene like that, and you're, supposed to be naked in bed, and everything is so strategic. Well, first of all, it's a closed set, which means there's very limited, only the crew members that have to be in the room are in the room. And then what's always really awkward is they give you, my wardrobe that morning was pasties and like a thong, like a nude skin-tone thong. Yeah, it could fit, like I could put it in my pocket. And I was like, wow, I think I actually took a photo of it and tweeted it out. And I was like, awesome, I love it. My wardrobe's so light and airy. You've got sheets and stuff, and you've got the top stick, the toupee tape, the double-sided tape. That they're trying to strategically put things in places so that nothing, you don't flash people in the middle of the scene because they can't use the shot either. But there was a fair amount of laughing because it's such a ridiculous scene, and and when you're having conversations with the director about like, so when I'm orgasming, how big do you want that? And it's like 7 in the morning, and like, what do I do for a living? What is this job? Ooh, that old cycle there, yeah. So yes, there's a lot of laughter. I mean, it's such an awkward thing to shoot, and so unnatural with people watching you, but we had a lot of fun, and luckily we had worked together quite a bit, and also known each other for however many years up until then, so there was a comfort level, whereas, sometimes you're thrown onto a job and the first scene of the day, you're like, hey, how you doing? I guess we're gonna have sex now. Great. Nice to meet you.
See you after breakfast? Cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Grab an egg with muffin. You want something?
Okay, over here.
Hi, my question is for Ksenia. You're famous for your Kinseyisms. Did you get to ad-lib any of those and come up with them on your own, or are they all written for you?
Our writers do a really incredible job at writing Kenzie. In fact, there's sometimes I read like cultural references in the script and I don't even know what they are. So we've had some funny read-throughs where I just appear not very bright. I'm like, what? Oh, I don't. What is that? But yeah, of course. Sometimes I do ad-libs. Sometimes they keep it. Sometimes they don't. Depends on the how long the episode is. If they have time to keep it in. If it works with everything. But there have been moments that I've seen when I've watched back the episodes where I'm like, oh my god, they kept that in. Awesome. So it happens. Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my dad died recently on May 22nd, so shortly thereafter, the last season went on Netflix. I'm like, yeah, I get to watch it. And I had watched a few episodes before that, but it just stopped on time a little bit so I could watch it. And then my question for you, Ksenia, is I knew from the very start of the show that you were the heart of the show, because you were like, kind of a little dark, but you were just her heart. You were her constant. Everything that she went through, you were there. So my real question is, that last episode made me cry so much. How do you put it? Just helped me grieve my dad even more. So the question is Kenzie going to be there for the last season? For a definitive, please. Is she going to be there?
What I can't believe is that the first time anybody's asked it all weekend.
First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. I don't have an answer for you. So I apologize, but I can't say anything. But thank you for wanting Kenzie to be back. Thank you. And I like your shirt.
Onto a little lighter subject. Because Hale had proposed to Kenzie, if, of course, the tragedy hadn't happened to Hale, how do you think that Kenzie and Hale's wedding might have gone? All three of you can answer, but obviously, Ksenia, you probably have more of an idea.
Oh, it would be so fun. I don't know. I mean, that's a really hard question. Knowing Kenzie, what do you think her and Hale's wedding would be like?
Oh, it would be huge.
Really?
Well, yeah, Hale's family is stinking rich.
Oh, well, okay, that's true. I was thinking more like Kenzie doesn't like the. Who am I kidding? Yeah, she likes the bells and
What are you
whistles.
talking about? She'd be like super Uber planner of the wedding, and Bo would be right there helping her out.
Yeah. Oh God. We'd have to get like some crazy fake party planner.
Totally.
Decorations would be wild.
Decorations would be wild. Kenzie would have like the craziest stilettos ever. It would not be, your traditional wedding dress. It would be something so freaking fabulous. Yeah.
Trick would marry them.
Yes.
He would be
Yeah.
he would do the proceedings, I would hope. Which would be really cool.
Yeah. And we would even invite you.
Thanks, Kenzie.
Absolutely.
That's a great question. Thank you. I never got to think about that. But that's definitely something fun to think about. Thank you.
She would have moved out of the clubhouse too, I suppose, eh?
Oh, well, let's not go that far.
Hale moves in.
Or Hale moves in.
We'll be
Three's
fine.
company.
Yeah, we'll be fine up there in the attic. It's cool. Maybe we do some renovations.
Come and knock on our door. Cause hers and his, they're coming too.
Hi, I'm a huge Kenzie fan, and I was really sad that he died. But in an episode, Kenzie wanted to be Faye. So if you could be any Faye, what would you be? If you could switch with any Faye, what would you be?
Today, I'm gonna pick Dyson. Because I really, really love to be a wolf for a minute. What's going on over there? You okay? Aw, this is what happens when you go to a rave.
There were some of you there last night too.
Yeah, I would switch with Dyson because I'm so jealous when Chris does his, he like growls often before we do takes, and I always like copy him, which is I'm sure really annoying. Like he stands there and he's like, "Rawr!" Yeah, "Rawr!"
We all kind of do it occasionally. Roar.
How about you guys?
For me, I'd pick Vex. That'd be fun. That would be really fun. Why not? Wear a little leather, some chaps.
Not even for the powers, just to wear the chaps, is what she says.
Just the clothes.
This is a dirty woman right here.
I guess it would be fun to be an incubus, like the male version of a succubus, because it would be kind of fun to glow people and like, what are you really saying? Oh, I think you're really nice. It's cool. Tell me the truth. Like Wonder Woman's lasso or whatever.
I like that sound effect. They should add that in anytime Anna touches anyone.
Sound effects by Rick Allen.
Anytime.
That can be your follow-up CD.
Yeah, really. I'll do a follow-up CD of just, just sounds.
Yes, next please.
Hi, my question's for Ksenia. Over the course of the show, you've worn some very interesting outfits and wigs. I was wondering which was your favorite.
I can never answer this question, just because there has been so much fun stuff that I've gotten to wear. Going to the jail cell was really fun. It was really fun to like be Southern for a minute and make out with Anna Silk. I mean, that's not too shabby. And it was just kind of a fun character to be in. Yesterday, I think I was talking about the angel outfit, which looked very cool, but was a hazard to people around me because I kept getting my wings in people's eyes by accident. By accident. Not on purpose. Yeah, I'm very lucky. The fact that Kenzie's a chameleon and I get to wear so much and have such a strong visual image, and Kenzie gets to express who she is with what she wears. It's a really awesome thing.
Next, please.
Hey, big fan. I did want to ask though, I've been very impressed with how accurately y'all portray Fae lore and how much research tends to go into that. Is that something that you as actors put a lot of time into, or is that done on the producing side? And what do you do to better prep for that?
I guess I'll answer that question. Yes, no, the writers do all the research. They, like, when we get the scripts, they've got it all kind of, you know, what kind of character, what Fae they were coming across that episode, or, you know, what I'm talking about or whatever, and I can go to them and ask. I've only had to ask them maybe 1 or 2 times of like, well, what is this exactly? But for the most part, if I don't know, or if I can't kind of glean it out of the script by what they're saying around the words or whatever it is, I'll get on Wikipedia. Like it's kind of the same as if you were watching it going, what the heck is it? Blah blah blah. It's like, oh, it's Greek mythology. It's, you know, it's Norse god. Oh, so yeah, I do a little bit of that, and if there isn't anything, and they just kind of there's something that's, you know, made up or whatever, then that's my job to make it up in my head of what it is, and then use that as the story I'm telling. So here's another acting note for you. If there's something that's not there, right? Like if you're doing a play and you're doing a monologue out over the audience and you're talking about, I had to do a long monologue about my dream home, which is like on a rolling hill and a house on a rolling hill and blah, blah, blah. It's all very beautiful and poetic. I had to, you know, I look at that panel up there above your head there, and because you kind of focus above the audience anyway in theater, and I picture the hill, I picture the house, I picture all of it, I create the image in my head as if it's a photograph or like a Polaroid. A Polaroid is an older photograph that was instant. You may not know about that. It was just before the radio. So I create this image in my head, and then I have that image to look at in my mind, and that's the image I'm telling the story about. Because it's often like you're calling up a story when you're a kid, right? It's like there's an image that's in your head of when you're a kid. So somebody says, oh, what was that like? You describe the image that's in your head. So you just have to create the memory first, and then you can tell the story about it.
You guys are gonna walk out of here like the best actors ever.
Next week I'll be doing a seminar at the Georgia. Come on down.
How to create rolling hills.
How to create rolling hills in your mind.
And sound effects.
What sound does that hill make?
Be your own one-man show.
Next, please.
Yes, I'd like to thank you all for coming to DragonCon. We're very glad to have you here. It's very exciting to see you.
Right back at you.
My question is, based on my emotions watching Kenzie watch Hale die, in that episode, in that moment, I really felt like that was pivotal for Kenzie, and I was just wondering, all 3 of you, if you had this moment that's stuck in your brain, like, this is so pivotal for my character, I just really turned the corner. Just wanted to try that.
absolutely right. I mean, you are forever changed after something like that happens. And we saw what happened to Kenzie in the episodes that followed, and her anger and her hurt. And for the first time in Kenzie and Beau's relationship, something was broken. So yes, that was a huge change for Kenzie. Do you guys have any moments that you remember? I mean, you becoming human, right? I mean,
Yeah, that was pretty pivotal, and I think that created an opportunity for me to delve into more my character's vulnerability and anger, but in a different way, like angry, like not having control, the loss of control, and not being able to be what I was before. And I think, for not that we can talk about it this season, but I think for all of the characters, I think in the final sort of stretch, it's like you see more of that. You see more of the struggle and the journey that the characters take, and towards the final days.
Actually, for Trick, it's interesting. I was thinking about what you asked, and it's like it was almost the very beginning of the show was like the biggest pivotal point for Trick, quite possibly, because he was going along, running the dial, checking in with Hale and Dyson, and they're like keeping everything cool from the cop kind of perspective. The Morgan's chilled. She's taking the artists' lives and making them famous and melting their face. And, so everybody was pretty well behaved. Everything was kind of going along quite nicely. Trick had done his rules of light and dark, and everybody was okay in dealing with that. And then Beau shows up. Now, you always knew Beau was around, or was out there, but then I think when she arrived and Dyson brought her to him, and he's like, I'd like you to meet somebody, this is Beau. I think that was the moment for Trick, which was great for me to be able to play. It's like, okay, this is what I was doing before, all off camera, way before it even started to roll. And then it was like, boom, now I'm into protector, detective, I think this is who I think it is this who I think it is? I'm pretty sure who it is I think it is. Oh wait, look, you're my granddaughter. Now I'm going to tell you about it. And that was another one, actually, there's another big pivotal turn. When Beau and Trick have that conversation, and he actually tells her, I'm your grandfather. Because it changed. I'm sorry. It changed a lot for Trick in that moment as well.
Thank you so much.
I'm really sick today.
So, on a lighter note, it was really fun to watch Kenzie and the teenage Valkyrie interact. What was your most fun relationship that your character had with someone else?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Repeat your question.
What was the most fun relationship that you got to play as your character in the show?
I mean, that one. Just speaking about that was really cool to have, of course, Rachel play the teenage Valkyrie, but the two young actresses before her. It was really wild, especially the youngest little girl who came in and owned the set, just like a Valkyrie would. And at the time, we had a really fantastic director who's one of my all-time favorites. His name is Steve DeMarco, and he's very tall, and he has a mohawk and tattoos everywhere. And he comes to set wearing, this is what he wears all the time. He comes to set wearing leather shorts, boots, and a leather blazer that's open, and he has nothing underneath. And his nipples are pierced, the whole nine.
Yeah, he's got a tattoo across his belly.
Yeah, and he has a tattoo across his belly. And this little girl, just looking up at him and was like asking him all these questions and like was not fazed by him at all. And I remember standing there being like, aren't you like a little intimidated? If I was like 6 years old, I'd be like, who is this monster? She was just like, okay, so I throw the knife over there. Okay, I got this. I didn't have to do much acting. I was like, perfect, just perfect.
Again. I can never forget that scene.
What did she say? So is Dyson or Hale your boyfriend? And like all these like cute little lines, and then she had to like, you know, she was snooping around and she like picks up a condom. And I was like, dude, you are so awesome, but where are your parents? Do they know you're on the show? Do they know you're doing the show? Is your mother here? Is she picking up a condom? That's cool? Okay, I guess it's cool. Do that. It was really fun.
Okay, next.
Hi, how you guys doing? We're big fans of the show. I have a question for Ksenia. There's an episode, and I don't remember what it's called, but I recall that Kenzie rolls out from under a truck after sneaking into like a building or something. And my girlfriend and I noticed that you were wearing 9-inch heels. And I noticed that a lot of the action scenes, you're in these enormous stiletto heels, and I noticed that Anna Silk normally has flats on. So how does that?
You are very observant, young man. I am very impressed.
So it's something I noticed, and how did that happen? Or do you get to switch them out when you're doing all the action scenes, or how does that?
No.
It's quite impressive to watch her walk around and do all that stuff, but she does it in the heels, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, no fun. Even when the stunt department, the wardrobe department is like, Ksenia, you have to jump, like, you know, from whatever, this 20-foot tall drop. Do you think you should wear flats? I mean, it would be safer. And I'm like, no, my heels is fine. Let's do this. And they're always so worried about me, but I don't know why. It's just a part of who Kenzie is. I have fought from the very beginning when literally all they would give me is like flat shoes as options, and I would just go, guys, no, sorry, not gonna happen. I was like, she has to be in heels. So I fight to the death to make sure no matter what stunt I'm doing, I stay true to Kenzie and her heels. And I can't speak on behalf of Anna, but it's just what we're all, you know, comfortable with and what we want our characters to wear. It just depends on the actor. So I like to fight for the heels.
And not to be, absolutely, and not to be outdone, Paul, during one of those webisodes that we did, jumped up on a table in those high heels. And
What about when he jumped, in for a one in memoriam, he came to set and they were like, so today you're gonna be wearing these giant heels, plus we want you to jump on a piano, like onto the keys, and then jump off the piano, and then jump off the stage. And he was like in shock for a minute, but he did it so well. I was like, do you wear heels on the weekends? Like, so I don't know, I gotta give props to him. I've never had to jump off of a piano before. That was pretty stellar.
I feel like he probably has a secret life.
I think 100%.
Well, this is going to be our last question, so.
No pressure, make it good.
Well, good morning. And
No food questions.
No food questions. From another Canadian to you guys, thank you, and I'm sorry.
Thank you, we're sorry as well.
Yeah.
The question I have is, I know you can't talk about what's going to happen in the 5th season, but what I'd like to know is where you would like your characters to go in the 5th season. What kind of storylines would you like? And I know that Kenzie's going to be back, so you have to answer.
She is going to abstain.
I mean, I guess.
That's a very good question. It's tough to answer that at this juncture in time.
Well, it's hard because obviously we know what's going to happen, so to try to deviate from that and make something else up is sort of like, well, Yeah, so you've already got that in your head, so it's like to imagine a new sort of situation, be forcing to make stuff up. It's a good
They all want
question.
to be happy.
We all live happily ever after.
You all meet me in Valhalla. And I'm like waiting for you with like doilies and like
Tea and Oreos.
and Oreos, lots of Oreos.
Oreo cookies.
And ice cream. Everyone, everyone, please give the Lost Girl cast a big round. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. We love you guys. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Have fun.